Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 512. This is your guard.
It's the guard.
Guide to the geek side.
Stay guarded.
Maybe.
It's
We're
important.
the guardians of the geek side. Maybe that's what we should say now from on. But
why
here
not?
we are.
Ooh, nice.
Todd Oxtra. It's Super Bowl Eve, and we're getting ready to make some good food and watch some games and watch some commercials. Joined by Charlie Carden.
All right, new camera this week. Todd and I now have the same camera because I was having some camera issues. If you'll notice from a couple weeks ago with my conversation with John Billingsley, I booted up my camera that day and my web camera was dead. So I had to go with the one off my laptop, which is crappy. And then I experimented with a couple of other ones that didn't work. So I finally just broke down and spent a couple extra bucks and got the one that Oxtra has. And now we're simpatico. We're beaming on the same technology wavelength. But anyway, great show for you this week. Great trailers to talk about. And then we're back to one of our classic games as we get into the Thunderdome. But we can't do anything at all without talking about our wonderful folks over at the Secret Friend Patreon squad over at patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. Try us out for 7 days for free. Exclusive content, early content, ad-free content, other perks, and then stay on for as little as $2 a month. A lot of entertainment for only $2 a month can also be gifted at patreon.com/Secret Friends/gift. And we've got a gift to talk about just in a moment here. After I talk about these awesome folks like my buddy Derek Trevelyan, the figure dude, Francie, who is the official hairdresser of SFU, our buddy Luke Lore, Mr. Xbox Expansion Pass, and my awesome Uncle Tim down there in South Haven, Michigan. John Sedorf kicks off our Friends with Benefits, Phoenix Sisters Entertainment, Kelly and Crayley. Brendan Myers, Corey and HD, Matthew Keel, my SFU talent wrangler buddy Kurt Krug hooks us up with all those great celebrity introductions, and our friend Tanya Lee down there in the Southlands. And as always, and Todd's going to jump into this here, we pay homage to the wonderful, nice family of the Twin Cities, Sean, Stella, and Henry, who are hooking us up with something a little bit extra. So, Todd, please.
Yeah, good friends of the show. Friend of mine, Sean, been friends with him for almost 20 years in Minneapolis, and he is so excited about the podcast. He wants to make sure more people are checking us out. So he decided, what better way to do this is give away 5 annual subscriptions to Patreon at the Friends with Benefits level. This gets you all our stuff, the audio, the video, all ad-free first, the new content we make, and you also get entry into our Secret Friends Unite Patreon group within our Discord. You get to have comments. You get to pick topics, get your questions on the show first and foremost. So, but this is the easiest way to get into our show and get it for free. And to do that, you just have to do one of 2 of the following things. Subscribe to YouTube, add a comment, take a screenshot, and then you could rate us on our podcast, which is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Rate our show. Take a screenshot. Once you have those screenshots, you can just DM us at Secret Friends Unite at Blue Skies or Instagram, or email us at secretfriendsunite@gmail.com. We'll be taking entries through February, and on March 4th, we'll announce the winners. So good luck and keep entering.
Oh my goodness. Very exciting. Well, can scarcely be more exciting than this week's cover from the year 2000, almost exactly 25 years ago, was the drop date of something that I have never heard of. This is issue 12 of Marvel, The Lost Generation. So let's see here. This was a limited series, 1 of 12. So that a la Secret Wars or any of those big maxi series back in the day. Countdown to number 1 begins here. Find out inside why we began at the end. And the other headline says she came from the future to save the past. Lots of different font sizes, only to see, I got to scroll down, it die. And you got a bunch of random ass people lying dead in a pile. One of them looks like a scroll. That's pretty. And one of them kind of looks like Ironmonger, maybe. The one that's kind of in the middle right. And the scroll is kind of at the top. I see several Skrulls actually, and some other green people. So, Todd, what the hell is this book? I have no clue.
So this is a Marvel creation written by Roger Stern with John Byrne, illustrated by John Byrne, penciler or inker Al Milgrom.
I love it. Al Milgrom is actually going to be an interview we have coming up over on the Spotlight, where Todd's going to have to nod and smile his way through it, which I can't wait to see it.
So this is the only issue where the first issue is also issue number 12. So this is a 12-part series, Charlie, and they started going backwards to forwards to backwards. So essentially, you're getting the end of the story first.
I get the marketing strategy. They knew it was terrible. They knew it was going to get canceled, so they dealt an entire story in one. So if it's one issue, is it like 300 pages long?
No. There were 12 issues.
Oh,
but the first one released was issue number 12.
So it was a countdown. It was a countdown.
It was kind of doing a Tarantino where you're telling the story out of order, except it's going backwards through time. So essentially, this is about the gap between Steve Rogers, Captain America, and think of like Spider-Man.
Okay.
And this is the in-between. These are new Marvel creations that were taking kind of that gap
the
between
Lost
that
Generation.
era. So think
now
of like
I get it.
So
now
think of like 46 to or whatever the era was when Roger 45, I guess 44.
Yeah, 44 to like 61. So like Fantastic Four.
So think of that. So these are all characters that you've probably never heard of. And some of the characters' names, Charlie, I'll just say them off to you.
Are they
Yeti?
Well, one question: Are they new characters that are made to be old, or are these real old timey characters, or don't we know?
I couldn't even tell you, Charlie.
Okay.
We've got Oxbow, Templar, Squire, Mako, Pixie, Black Fox, Gadfly, Walkabout, Eternal Brain, Mr. Justice, Riot Act, Effigy, Firefall, Flatiron. Supporting characters Nocturne, Cassandra Locke. And the great part about this book, Charlie, there's other characters, including Thunderbolt Ross, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Henry Pym, and Doctor Strange.
Hold on a sec. I've got something that I know who one of these characters are. Just today, and I put a picture on my Instagram. April and I went through my comics. We picked out 8 comics that we liked. We framed them, put them on the wall in my office. One of the books I pulled out was a polybagged 1993 annual, because that year all the annuals were polybagged with a trading card. I had the Spectacular Spider-Man. The polybag card was Nocturne. Boom, one of these characters.
Yep.
There you go.
But I don't know if it's that character, Charlie, because if I'm looking this, it says in issue 12, all but like 2 of these characters don't die in this book.
Okay. Is Nocturne
is dead as well.
Is Nocturne this character? And again, I don't remember the issue. What had like she was like gray and had like big claws and white eyes. Is that what she looks like?
Not. This is like a dude with a full-on costume. So this is truly yeah.
Oh well,
these are basically, I would say, all original characters. That unless any of them were truly part of the Marvel universe and they just happen to be in the story, like a supporting character, like the characters I talked about. These are all characters that were just kind of. John Byrne probably said, "Let me write a book," and people don't know I'm a jerk yet. So there you go.
My God. Yeah. John Byrne is, I was just talking to April about this week, because we've been doing all these great interviews, and you and I meet people at shows sometimes. And I said, John Byrne is definitely a don't meet your heroes kind of guy for me. I do not want to meet or ever speak to him, because it would be like Bill Cosby.
He's got old white guy disease, Charlie. White guy disease.
It would just shatter my love for him. But anyway, crazy. Did you pull this? Is this on MU, or is this just lost to the ages?
I believe it is on MU. It is on MU if you want to read it.
How interesting. My goodness. Well,
that might be a challenge for you. Not for me.
I guess. Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Well, with that, someone else who celebrated Y2K with a centennial and a bunch of excitement was our senior news correspondent, Madam Webb, who turned 100 on January 1 of 2000. And 25 years later, she's still kicking it, standing around at the corner of Hollywood and Vine with all the latest news and scoops for us. Let's go.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's Rumors and News. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. Madam Webb, I heard you're going to be playing the post Super Bowl game where you're going to be inside the New Orleans Superdome, and you're going to be playing on a bucket, the drums, and then you will be begging for quarters.
She'll be stomping the yard all the while, stomping the yard. Wasn't that what that movie was about?
Not so much, yeah.
No, I thought that was about
and I'm
drumming.
guessing she'll just steal the guy's bucket next to her, hit him with her bag of bricks, and then just take all his money too.
There's no shame in that game. Well, Superman, the excitement that blew out a few weeks ago for the Superman trailer has been eclipsed, at least for me, because we did get our trailer this week in a very elaborate and annoying rollout that happened like Tuesday, either Monday or Tuesday morning. For Fantastic Four First Steps, they did hey, it's going to come on at 7 a.m. And when you tuned in at 7 a.m., it was a 1 hour countdown of pictures. And then they came on and it was this really lame, the cast was there and somebody was introducing them, and then they finally showed the trailer. So I skipped all that, watched it on YouTube trailer at like 10 minutes past, and holy cow, super fired up. Todd, where do you land with the Fantastic Four? What was your childhood reading experience? Did you tune in? Were you just aware? Did you catch them in crossover books? Where are you at with the Fantastic Four?
Always aware of the Fantastic Four. Always thought they were a fun team. Never like, oh, they're cool like the X-Men. Just felt kind of like the Brady Bunch of
Dun 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 dun.
a family.
Yeah.
I never, I don't know. I mean, I saw them in cartoons and things. So,
Right.
and I know they were very important, but there was never like, oh, that's my favorite Fantastic Four book, except when John Byrne, we talked about him earlier. I mean,
Yeah.
his run, the art was great, and there was just some interesting stories like they're going to go back and kill Hitler and
Right.
things like that. And then we had some interesting runs. So, but since then, I think they've done some really great things with you basically using them as a family. There's been some great one-offs, some great crossovers, and I think the Fantastic Four is a pretty cool idea that I hope finally comes together. And based on this trailer, the tone is phenomenal, going with the vibe. I mean, understanding like they are kind of like a celebrity family. They all have their own thing in the world, and Reed even mentioned the fact that we were a family before, and that was before Ben was a rock and you were invisible, and Johnny was Johnny,
right?
It's great, and
Johnny's got a Johnny.
Did we see him? Did we seen him being super stretchy yet? Did I miss that?
No, you're absolutely right. We didn't see him do anything besides stand there and talk, and he's working on his little chalkboard there. And so they're saving that because his power is kind of the most ridiculous of any of the powers.
Yes,
because
it's look cool.
Yeah, because the thing is like I'm smashing stuff, and then Sue can manipulate light rays and all this different stuff, and Johnny's on fire. I mean, what's not cool about that? But this also gave us jumping out of the typical 60s parlance that is what's the layout of this movie, and jumping into the cartoon of it was the 70s is Herbie.
60s, early 70s.
It did say the Marvel created Herbie in the 1970s to replace the Torch in the cartoon. Now this is really interesting. for fear of kids trying to set them on fire, which they did in John Byrne's run. That was a story in the John Byrne run, issue 285. I'm going to be talking about the Byrne run when we get to the Geek Easy, because I've been finally doing some reading.
Wait. He in his story he said kids were imitating Human Torch.
That happened in issue 285. Man, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Is that like the what was it, the in Saturday Night Live they had Dan Aykroyd, like those really bad
Johnny Bag of Glass?
Like that's what I'm thinking, like, is that what it is? We gave you a cup full of gasoline and matches. You can be Johnny Fireplace.
Right. And it was, to be honest, taking the serious tone, it was a very sobering story to read.
Was it like it was like a very special episode of
it was a kid who was bullied, and his parents, neglected him, but he really loved the Human Torch, and so he wanted to be like the Human Torch. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough for me to read when I was a kid because it came out in probably 1986. So yeah. But anyway.
Thank God I didn't do that. Oh my God.
No kidding.
My gasoline, my match is out. Oh,
Oh no. But yeah, Herbie took over. He's a fun little robot. Him and this, he has like 2 tape spools for an eye, and he has like camera lenses for a mouth. Or no, they're actually, excuse me, they're also, because I watched a breakdown video, they're also little tape reels. So it's taped from one to the other, but he can smile and he has expressions when the tapes are rolling. It's just, I loved it. I
yeah,
loved it.
it's adorable. These designs are phenomenal. Ben Grimm looks great.
Oh,
The
best ever.
banter between him and Herbie are really good. I mean, it seems like they're nailing the
Yeah.
vibe really
Yeah.
well, which
Right.
is really cool. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm so happy. The space race, how they get their
Mhm.
powers, it's all there, and it's in a
Yeah.
way that makes kind of sense.
And it was hard to miss the absolute Easter egg of the fact that Ben Grimm, being that's Evan Bachman, I'm going to screw up his name, Evan Bachman Ross, who was cousin on The Bear, is cooking and having a back and forth with Herbie about making some soup, and that was absolutely terrific. There's no doubt in the world that was very purposeful. But moving on, we do get touches of Galactus, real, honest to God, comic accurate, not a stupid cloud, which we got in the 2007 Fantastic Four Silver Surfer movie, Galactus. In New York City, you see him in the picture here. He's walking up on Liberty Island. Then you see him standing over Manhattan with a big shadow. I mean, oh my God, it was perfect. And that Galactus, this is something I heard. People were, what isn't Galactus the size of a planet? He's actually apparently slightly smaller than the Galactus that you see here. So he is, 50 feet tall instead of 60 feet tall. I don't know. Or I don't know. It depends on how tall the Statue of Liberty here is, but it could be a forced perspective thing. Who knows?
I'm assuming, he's probably double the size of the Statue of
Yeah,
Liberty. If I look at
exactly. John Malkovich potentially as the Red Ghost, which is a great classic Fantastic Four villain. He has intangibility powers. He controls gorillas in some fashion. That's a big part of his power set. I mean, the Fantastic Car, which is not like the Fantastic Car you see in the comics. This one's like an actual car, and it looks like a car going back, a car backwards. If you look at this picture of it,
Yeah, a lot of
backwards and
engine
upside
there.
down.
A lot of engine. Yep.
Yeah. And hints of we haven't seen Julia Garner as Shalabal the Silver Surfer yet, so that's to become. Where is Doctor Doom? How's that going to factor in? Because you figure it's got to in some way, shape, or form. But oh my gosh,
Leone's in this movie. Paul Walter Hauser.
Yeah.
Doctor Doom, like you said, Robert Downey Jr. So this is the first trailer. We will get more. This movie's not coming out until July, so this is
right.
We're 5 months away. It is interesting. I hope we do get, quite honestly, what I always hate. What we see typically with a lot of these superhero films, we don't just see them being heroic on an everyday fashion, meaning, hey, we're taking down a thug or doing something heroic.
Like,
it's always
like Spider-Man.
We get our powers and then we have to fight the next biggest thing. I'm like, we
right.
need a little bit of like a headline. Oh, the Fantastic Four brings down, Mole Man. Maybe we see the Mole Man in this.
Right.
Paul Walter Hauser's got to be the Mole Man, Charlie.
Oh my God. Who else is going to be? Willie Lumpkin, the mailman? Of course he's going to be the Mole Man.
Is there a female villain Natasha Lyonne could play that's kind of that era?
Gosh. Unless she's supposed to be Alicia Masters. So not a villain.
It could work, although I don't know if that plays like Alicia Masters. Like,
no, Alicia Masters.
I mean, her really thick.
Alicia, she's very kindly and demure and soft spoken. That's not Natasha Lyonne. So yeah, you're right. I don't see a fit with that role. Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Maybe she's playing like Joan Rivers of the time or something like that. That would work.
I mean, oh my God, this movie plus July has 2 other enormous releases, one that may or may not be a big release, but we'll talk about it in a minute. But Superman and those are at opposite ends of the month because I believe Superman comes out on the 11th. This is out on the 25th. The other movie we're talking about comes out 4th of July weekend on July 2. So I think July to me feels like the most like kind of action packed at the cinemas that we've had in a lot of years as far as number of big releases.
Yeah, 2025 since 2019.
Yeah.
2019 was probably the last big year that was the biggest box office year of all time.
Yeah.
And everybody says survive until 25 because that's when all these big movies are going to come in. They're going to kill the
Yeah.
box office. It's going to be huge. So I hope that's true because it's like we get a couple that surprise and a lot that disappoint. Like last year we had a lot of disappointment. So hopefully
Big time.
we get these movies that are supposed to deliver. And quite honestly, I feel really good about Superman. Feel really good about the Fantastic Four, which
Big time.
at times neither of those franchises have really delivered on their promise. So hopefully
That's very true. Yeah. Particularly at the box office. Fantastic Four has never delivered at the box office, and Superman was one of the first huge superhero films, and then it was all a downhill trajectory from there. It was just
a little bit of like maybe you get something that delivers on, but it was always uneven. It's like, oh, it delivers this really good, but it didn't do anything. Like it's either too busy, too boring, too weird, too much Richard Pryor.
Too much, or too much canon films with Superman 4, Nuclear Man. All right, well, let's move on, if that works for you, to talk about looking at, and we even had a question by our pal Sean Nice this week about getting started reading some Fantastic Four comics, because you got 5 months. I know I'm going to be reading a lot of FF comics in the next 5 months, which again I'll talk about in the Geek Easy because I've already started. But we have a list here from Todd Loves Den of Geek from the best Fantastic Four comics of all time, ranked. So let's kick this. Are we going to go through this bit by bit? Or are we going to pick out little bits? What do you want to do?
Really quick. I'll start with 15. It's called Frightful. This is Ultimate Fantastic Four 30 through 32, which was a series I never really got into, but it's most well known. It's Jonathan.
I read a couple.
Brian Michael Bendis. Well known for bringing in the Marvel Zombies, which is really cool. Just kind of out of the blue. Really cool idea, and the fact that was kind of their main contribution as the Marvel the Ultimate part of the Fantastic Four. So I'm like, that is a really cool idea. I've really loved those Marvel Zombies books, and we're obviously getting a Marvel Zombies animated series, or at least show. So I'm so glad that people remember that this is where it all started.
Absolutely. 14 is the first appearance of Dr. Doom in Fantastic Four number 5. This one I did read recently, but this was Marvel's first super standout single solitary supervillain, and someone who has become increasingly important as time has gone by, just not on the big screen. Even though they did roll him into the Fantastic Four films that have been all 3 of the 4 films that have been produced, even though the first one didn't really make it to the big screen, had Dr. Doom in them. But yes, he's the biggie. This is a kind of a weird read because it's Stan Lee at his most Stan Lee-ness, with his huge word bubbles and everybody saying everything that they think. It's like Randy Newman. There's Randy Newman singing about what he sees. That's reading Stan Lee.
Dr. Doom likes to make the day sad.
Burp, derp, burp.
I hope there's a Dr. Doom song in this by Randy Newman. That'd be even better.
Oh my God! Is Randy Newman still alive? Right? He's still doing all the Toy Story songs. You've got a friend in Doom. Da-da.
He's been AI'd probably. They just say, AI make a Randy Newman song.
Now he's a hologram. All right. Well, this next one, this more recent one, but go ahead.
Yeah, Fantastic Four. This is a run that has an awesome cover. It's an Alex Ross cover where there's the living brain with eyeballs chasing the Fantastic Four.
Oh my God!
It's called The Impossible is Probable, issues 12 through 17. This is from the 2023 run.
Right.
Basically, Ryan North is involved in this as the lead writer, and I'm looking to see the main focus of this. It's an alternate universe ruled by intelligent dinosaurs, ends with the China brain, a 3-part story. It's named after a real-world thought experiment that imagines what would happen if each citizen of China acted like a single neuron in a larger collective.
So that's the brain. How interesting! And if this is the 23 run, this is, if it was issues 12 through 17, this is very recent. So
2022 is probably when it started then. And this is more along lines. It's kind of like this is taking those odd stories that Fantastic Four used to do. Like they'd go to the negative zone and they run into a nihilist or something. This is kind of going back to like what Fantastic Four does best, is just weird science fiction adventures.
Absolutely. I'll cover these next two. Fantastic Four Annual 6 from 1968 is the birth of Franklin Richards. So this was our first Marvel baby. if I'm not mistaken, because we were so early on there. Marvel's really first comic of the, what do they call it? The Silver, is it the Silver Age? I always get my ages mixed up. They're the Silver Age.
Golden Age was like DC. Silver Age was like the '60s with Marvel.
Okay, there we go.
The,
So
the
Silver.
launch of Spidey
So yeah.
and Fantastic Four.
So this was very big, and I know that Sue is giving birth while reading the rest of the guys where they were in the negative zone fighting the. He's got to get Element X because Sue is gonna die in childbirth, so they got to go to the negative zone to get it. So very sci-fi kind of bit. Just feels like an episode of Star Trek in like before when Star Trek was going on. It's 1968. So
Element X. That's what made the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, whoa! Is that what happened when he threw it in the bin afterwards, and then they picked it, or the Ninja Turtles?
Not like the turtles with the ooze. No, it wasn't just poured down a drain.
Blah, 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 blah. Oh, BioLife. And then, all right, I'll cover the next one because I love this miniseries. I've been meaning to give it a revisit, and now I probably will. Secret Wars from 2015, and this was Secret Wars volume. You can call it Volume 2 or Volume 4 because there was Secret Wars. Secret Wars 2 followed in 1985. Everybody hates it. There was Secret War, which was somewhat unrelated, and that was in the early 2000s, I think. And then there was this in 2015.
There was Secret Warriors.
Secret Warriors. And the Fantastic Four had either been on a break or they went on a break after this. They had actually been dormant. Because Fox was still a thing, Disney Marvel said, we don't want the Fantastic Four anymore. So
no Fantastic Four, no X-Men. It's all Inhumans all the time.
Yeah, you're right. No, this is absolutely correct. So the Fantastic Four don't even exist until the final issues of the 9-issue series. It was a huge crossover. I still have a map on my wall of the battlefield or Battle World, which was the reality that Doom created in this. But yeah, Doom again takes over all of reality, which he did in the first Secret Wars, which actually I was just reading today. I just finished it. And he recreates the world in his image. He becomes the god. Sue is his wife. Sue's kids are now his kids. He's like the horrible he's the stepdad. He becomes the stepdad. Doom stepdad.
He's on and he's not wearing his costume. He is
right. He's just normal,
right?
And he's wearing virginal white and all this different stuff. So then it's up to our gang, who is then split across these multiple fragments of reality on this battle world. It's yes, not those guys. It's a whole thing. Yeah, the gang gets back together. Molecule Man, who was a driving force in the very first Secret Wars, comes back as well, and obviously they knock him out. So love Secret Wars. I'm going to read it again. I would invite anybody out there to read it with me. It's on Marvel Unlimited, and of course on at your local comic shop in the trade, or available on Comixology Unlimited. So, straight 90s. Go with number 10.
Oh, this is so amazing. I remember when this came out, I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. Number 10 is the Fantastic Four, new Fantastic Four, issues 347 to 349. Two of my favorite creators of all time. Walter Simonson, who you know from his great work he did on Thor, and also Art Adams, amazing artist who did X-Men books.
Yeah.
Just love this book. But basically, essentially, we've got these four characters taking over for the Fantastic Four, which is Spider-Man, the Hulk, Ghost Rider, and Wolverine. And this is
what a team.
Gray Hulk, a little bit different, wearing a tie.
Yeah.
I mean, so cool, so so original at the time. Like, and I think it just took these creators to really pull it off versus feeling like, oh, that's bad. So very cool, very fun, just kind of out of the blue. I loved it. And only
good
3 issues.
Stuff.
So definitely worth your money. And I'm assuming this is collected somewhere as a 3-issue, but obviously it's
on Marvel. The vast majority of Volume 1 of Fantastic Four is on MU, because I personally several years ago said I want to read more of these issues, add them, because there's a button on Marvel Unlimited that you can request stuff to be added. So I've done it several times. But yes, next run is Hickman's run from 2011. This was the Fantastic Four after Johnny, the Human Torch, had died. Of course, he came back, and Spider-Man was taking his place, and they're in their awesome Future Foundation outfits, which this is one Spider-Man figure I don't have because it came out, must have been a limited run, it disappeared, it's never been made again. So Spidey in all white.
I'm sorry, this cover is just, I don't know who did it. It's just not attractive to me.
It's a
romance cover.
It's a little too photorealistic, and it does look very supermarket checkout. But this run is called The Club. The Club? No, it's The Club, not The Club. Because if it was Duck Club, that'd be a little bit cooler. Let's see here. The Wizard, who is a classic villain, is part of it. We also do see Black Panther and She-Hulk, and Wyatt Wingfoot, who's She-Hulk's boyfriend, who's a longtime FF character, and Mrs. Thing, which is Sharon Ventura, who mutated into a thing, but she used to be I think she was Ms. Marvel. She was another Ms. Marvel at one point, but she was a wrestler. Remember the Unlimited Wrestling Federation? She was one of those.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, came from the Thing comic back in the day. So yeah, if you can ignore the initial cover, I guess they're saying read this 4-issue run. All right, what's next? Back to John Byrne.
Yeah, John Byrne, 284. This is from 1985. Really cool issue of. We've got She-Hulk when she was on the team. Kind of neat that she was brought in. John Byrne did a lot with She-Hulk, so I mean,
big time.
and he's well known for that book. And the writing was great, and just kind of the way they managed the character. But it sounds like this is really where finally Sue Storm dropped. Finally, I didn't realize it had been that long. But she finally dropped the Invisible Girl name and took on the moniker
Became the Invisible
Woman.
Yeah.
She made a speech essentially proclaiming that, finally being taken seriously. She was a mother, and at that point, not a girl. And like, yeah, that's weird.
I'm not a woman, just like, or I'm not yet. I'm not
how
a girl,
old
not
was
yet a
Sue
woman.
Storm when she became. She got her powers
when the comic started,
Reed, right?
No, she was not. She was Reed's girlfriend, because it was my girlfriend Reed and her punky kid brother Johnny. She was like 19, 20. They didn't really go into it. Reed was
so weird.
Reed was a lot older,
and she's a girl. I'm a man dating a girl.
I was going to say, weird. I was trying to quote Britney Spears from the exceptional 2002 film Crossroads, where she has the song "I'm Not Yet a Woman."
I'm not a woman.
That's the one. That's what I'm talking about. Number 7 is, of course, the one that started all Fantastic Four, number 1 from 1961, which does give us the origin story, which is what we were just talking about. Go back and read the issue. Maybe you can pick apart, because it was obvious that Ben and Reed, they were college buddies. Ben's this great test pilot. Reed's a super brain, and then Sue and Johnny are just there, and they have to
for the ride.
They have to sneak onto a plane because they're funding, or a rocket ship, because their funding is going to get yanked, and they launch into space, but the ray shields were not properly attenuated, blah 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 bullshit, and they get hit with the not gamma rays. What's the rays that give them their powers? I'm drawing a blank.
Infantile rays. I don't know.
And it probably says in this, and I'm not reading it. It's the cosmic rays. Yes.
Cosmic
rays. And yes, they fight the mole man, as Todd was saying. So
that's a lot happening in one book.
It was, and
powers fly from space, fight the mole man.
And the cover is one of the most iconic images in all of comics, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's been used in a lot of things.
All right, what do we got next?
So this is really cool. Fantastic Four 509 to 511. This is probably very close to the Fantastic Four's run. And it was great because Mark Waid and Mike Ringo did an amazing run on that. And that was part of this run right here. But basically, this was all about re-engaging Doom to make him a very strong threat once again. Bracing, he basically embraced spiritual elements, which was weird, taking on Reed's logical thoughts, and kind of like that Doom has always been part of the mysticism. He had to go down to hell with Doctor Strange to save his mom's soul. It was weird, but this is kind of like, once again, Dr. Doom fully embracing the science with the mystical to become a real threat. But I love this run. Mike Ringo is no longer with us, but really great run.
Excellent. And going back to the classic Volume 1 run, issue 51, and actually issue 52 was first appearance of the Black Panther. Maybe that's further down. But issue 51 from 1966 is this man, this monster, where clearly you see on the cover that Ben is struggling with his thingness, where on his left, Reed is trapped in the Phantom Zone. And Sue's like, hello. It's a great image. So... very, very driven story, talking about Ben and his struggles, having to clearly save Reed from a dilemma. Doesn't touch on a lot of the plot points here, but yes.
Basically, his powers are stolen. He becomes a man again.
Oh, right.
To save the Fantastic Four, he must revert to the Thing.
Which he does in that first film. So, John Byrne is back with number 4. What do we got?
Yeah, so this is really interesting. This comic cover is really neat. Lots of characters in the back. It's red background, really cool. It's the trial of Reed Richards. And it says in the corner of the box, it says, "Hey guys, I know it's an editor's month, but let's not do anything too silly on the cover, okay?" Which is funny because basically you take your note from your boss and you put it there to basically say, "Haha, my boss is a dork." But at this point, yes, let's see the trial of Reed Richards in which he's on trial by
The
the
Shi'ar.
Shi'ar Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lilandra.
allowing Galactus to live. So basically,
Yeah.
I guess because you allowed him to live rather than kill him with the ultimate nullifier, think of all the bad that
Yeah.
happened.
Exact. Good stuff. All right. And we're back to what I'm assuming is volume 2 from 2003 or 2002,
Yep.
issue 60, Inside Out. What's going on in this? What's going on in this one? Standalone issue that got their. I'm trying to figure this out. See, this is why we should do our homework. Read. Yeah. What's going on?
It's basically Reed it's a day in the life, but basically it's a bedtime story where Reed is describing all of the people within the Fantastic Four, but more of a bedtime story method. So basically it's a standalone, and kind of heart wrenching. Basically, also an introduction to the characters. If this would be like one of those good, hey, it's the first start. So it was a standalone issue that inaugurated their run. So essentially, issue
Nice.
60 then turned into like the issue 509, Charlie. It's
Oh
that
my
weird
gosh.
numbering
So it
thing.
was
So yeah,
legacy numbers. I got it. Number
yeah.
2 is Solve Everything, FF Volume 1. I'm assuming 570 through 572 from '09. This is Reed trying to literally solve every problem in the galaxy. And he has to engage the Interdimensional Council of Reeds, which we did see in the MCU. That gave us John Krasinski as Reed Richards. But this illustrates to Reed through this council that they're not all alike, and he has a different moral compass than other Reeds because of his family. So it's his family that makes him unique. So, Todd, every list has got to have a number one. What's the number one FF story of all time, according to
Well,
Dim
before we move on, the Council of Reeds, Rick and Morty brought it on with the Council of Ricks, which I love the fact that they did that.
Council
Very
of
good,
Ricks.
very good. Yep. So basically, we've got the coming of Galactus. So this was issue 48 through 50, kind of like a mini series
Yep.
where Galactus was brought on basically as a threat. You've got Uatu basically coming down from the clouds, basically saying, "I cannot interfere, but I will. I'm no longer a Watcher. I'm an interferer." And basically, at this point, we get introduced to this beyond the Earth threat. That what can you do? He's going to devour the Earth. And at this point, the Silver Surfer is introduced, basically the Herald, to tell them, give up your world, or it'll be like my world, what happened to me. And yeah, that's where basically you get brought in with the Fantastic Four. It's kind of like there's threats beyond everybody and beyond, which is kind of like I don't
Right.
think we got a lot of those like otherworldly threats that were like, oh,
Yeah.
there's a bigger world out there, because I think we got the Skrulls and the Kree and those introduced before.
Well,
at this
the
point, or no?
Skrulls came from Fantastic Four, and the Kree came from the Avengers, but it was later, I
Yeah,
think.
okay.
Yeah, so it was definitely the Fantastic Four, and again, they tackled a lot of the events. They spent a lot of their time off Earth, which is what made them a lot different than other teams. So, but again, I'll touch a little bit more about that in the geekies when I start reading. So Todd, Jurassic World, you haven't seen any of those films, right? You were like, nah, I'm going to skip them. So
I think I've only seen 2 Jurassic Park movies.
okay,
The
because there were 3 Jurassic Park movies, and this is now the 4th Jurassic World movie. So the Jurassic World has eclipsed Jurassic Park as far as number of
Yes.
movies, and the last one was the Legacy crossover one, and it really didn't do well at the box office, which
Yes.
to me calls into wonder how this next film is going to do. We're getting Jurassic World Rebirth in this summer. It's the 3rd film that's coming out in July. So it really makes me wonder how this packed July is, how it's all going to play out. But if star power is a thing, this movie would have it, because Scarlett Johansson is the lead. This is what she's doing, joining big old franchises now that she's not part of Marvel. But Todd, how did you feel about this trailer, having being someone that is not super steeped in the whole? Because I've seen them all multiple times, maybe multiple times.
I just don't understand the point anymore. I mean, it feels like, yeah, dinosaurs are bad. And this one sounds like a heist film because it's like,
Okay.
we have to go back to Isla Nubar because nobody's there. But if we can extract some DNA from these dinosaurs, we can create a cure for something. So, of
Right.
course, the only person that can do it is Scarlett Johansson.
For some
and
reason.
Mahershala Ali is a dude. He's the guy that can get you from here to there.
Wisecrack and sidekick. He's like Lando
Yeah.
Calrissian in this film, or Han Solo, if you prefer.
Kinda, but yeah, I just feel like, and they're going to introduce another dinosaur that's kind of like what it's called. Spinosaurus is back, and then they're going to create this character that kind of looks like they say a rancor monster. So
Mhm.
a lot of ways, they're not even going to look like dinosaurs anymore. There's going to be monsters, and apparently there's
Yeah.
locusts across the planet now. I don't know,
Right.
Charlie.
I mean, I'm with you. And the thing that seems even more dubious to me is that the last film didn't do well. Because I remember, because that was 2 years ago, so it was in 2023. I was wagering heavily on that because I think it was pretty high up in my bracket, and it really disappointed. People just didn't really care that you put Laura Dern and Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum along with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Nobody gave a shit. That was ultimately what it boiled down to. Yes, we got Gareth Edwards handling the directing. Was he the guy that directed Rogue One? I know I feel like he's a Star Wars director, or maybe he did last.
He was, yeah, he was.
Okay.
He directed. Gary Whitta wrote, and then somebody else basically came in. So the guy that's now in charge of Andor, he was actually brought in too to kind of fix some of those things. So,
okay,
yeah.
okay. I mean, Andor is top shelf Star Wars, so who knows? Maybe that's really going to help out.
Yeah.
But we're getting a critter called the D-Rex, as you were mentioning, which from this is a cross between the Rancor and the xenomorph alien from the Alien movies. I mean, yeah, July 2nd. So it's a 4th of July weekend movie, which is, it's a gargantuan box office opportunity. I think a lot of films in that space do extremely well, but just based on the performance of the last movie, I know I'm already playing with my bracket because I'm super curious. I just don't know how, if people didn't react to the last film, what's gonna be different about this one. That's what I'm wondering.
I mean, you've got diehards, people that just love dinosaurs. They love these types of movies. So you know what? I'm sure there'll people that want to see it, but for me, there's nothing like, whoa, this really stands out. So
yeah,
it'll be a movie.
It will be a movie. Well, speaking of something being a movie, and Todd, I'm gonna put your feet to the fire over this one because I even put it in our schedule that I want to talk about this movie when it comes out, and that is the sequel to M3 GAN, Megan. Megan
Yes.
2.0. So Megan was it the year before? Was it last year? I think it was it early last year that movie came out?
2025 or no, 2023. It was 2023,
Oh yeah, there you go.
I believe. Yeah.
Yes, it says yes. The murderous style who captured pop culture in 2023 is back, but she's not alone. Because we had a teaser trailer this week, which showed the Megan doll alive again, which was of course, sorry, spoiler alert. I'm not going to do the spoiler alert, but Todd, I'm sure you can figure out that think about Child's Play. It's kind of the same story, but you'll have to go see it because again. Yeah, so she's back. Yeah, exactly. Can't kill him off, but yeah, Megan comes back. She's looking different. And a full trailer is coming, but we got something very brief, which is just a silhouette doing the dance that we saw in the first movie, and then it comes out and she has this creepy weird face. And who would buy that doll? It was like, who the hell would buy the My Buddy doll who is Chucky?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Who would jailbreak a sex doll, Charlie? You never know.
I mean, I could understand that one more than I could understand this, without a doubt.
I do like the plot of this movie where essentially now Megan is essentially brought back to take down this organization that stole the AI that made Megan, in basically to fight the other creation.
Which is the Jedi chick from Ahsoka.
Yeah. So like, I love this. That basically it's now she's gonna be like, is this gonna turn into an action film? Where it's just like now she's taking them down, like Battle Angel Alita. I don't know where this is, but I'm like, okay, now I'm bored. They're just gonna go crazy.
I'll give it a stab.
That,
I mean, the first movie
is like
Yeah, the first movie was nuts, and like I said, Todd, like I said, I'm calling you the carpet. You're gonna have to watch the first film because I want to talk about this
Yes,
one
I'll
when it comes
watch
out.
it. I'll watch it.
Right?
It's goofy. I have no problem with it.
Yeah,
I just never got around to it. I don't know why.
I hear you. Well, Todd, one thing I know you'll get around to, and something that we've gotten away from over on the Facts Geek Life on our Patreon, but we got to get back to it. We got to get you, me, and Kelly back together. Is talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Big news. What's going on?
Yes, apparently there are talks to bring back Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Chloe Zhao, who's a famous director. She's going to be
Of
behind this with
Eternals.
Sarah Michelle
Whoops.
Gellar. And yes, well, she's done other things. Joss
Yes, I
Whedon
know.
is no longer going to be involved in it. So because of that, apparently she's just hearing that there's so many people that love the series and they'd love to have her back, that it's like she's like, maybe I'm over all the craziness that happened when it was on it. If it has new people
Yeah, time
behind it
heals.
that are
Time
going to
heals
be,
all
yeah,
wounds.
exactly,
Some
positive
wounds.
role models,
Yeah,
considering how much this role means to so many people, and the
yeah.
fact now that she's of an age where if this does take place basically going back to Buffy at her current age, she's a mom now. And then is she still the Slayer?
She's
Does she still
not a
slay?
girl.
I mean, the
Sorry.
way the series ended was that there were many Slayers. And in the comic series that followed it up with season 8, season 9 by Joss Whedon, basically continued as if the show continued in comic book form.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
elements they could use from that. I don't think they will. I
Probably
think they'll
not.
take a different
They
route because
rarely
now
do.
that she's,
Yeah,
I mean, it's 20 some odd years later. I would assume they would just do something new with it, reimagine it. They will need great writers because that was what's really made Buffy the Vampire Slayer fun, was the way they handle
yeah.
teens in a modern lens and have fun with it. So Disney owns
So
it,
it's not
and
it's not
Joss
going to
Whedon
be like
created it, but
yeah, it's not going to be like that 90s show where it's going to be like now everybody's grown up but they got kids too. I mean, I hope it's not something like that. Hopefully it will embrace, like you said, because I've been watching the show through our Patreon segment, the Facts Geek Life. That's one of the shows that we've talked about. Kelly Gentner, who is part of Phoenix Sisters, has done that with me. Todd joined for the most recent segment. It's very fun. It's definitely a slice of the 90s, but
yeah.
how do you think this is going to do? I mean, you've got a great director. We're talking about a TV show, not a movie, right? So, I mean, because you've got like a cinematic director. But TV, the line between TV and movies so blurred these days. Obviously, with streaming and post COVID, that you see a lot more people branching out to do not even really a home based entertainment. You can't even really call it television anymore in some ways.
Yeah, I
Streaming
mean,
entertainment.
we've had a couple things that have come back successfully. We've had some things that have come back less successfully. I mean,
Mhm.
I know was Arrested Development did not land so great when it came back.
Yeah.
Um, there's not a lot of things. I mean, Fraser obviously got canceled now. That was a comeback
Did that get
show.
canceled? I don't remember
It
hearing
did
about
get
that.
canceled. It's only 2 seasons. Yeah,
Oh
three
boy.
seasons. It will not
It
get any
it
third.
was it was very run of the mill, but we watched it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's not been a lot of shows from the genre perspective with the same cast that have come back, except for Star Trek, I think, with the movies. Other than
Right.
that, there's not a lot of ways it can happen. I mean, they tried it with Firefly and different things like that. But is this going to include a producer that was originally on a Buffy the Vampire Slayer that Sarah Michelle Gellar apparently says was her mentor? So that's a
Yeah.
positive light to have someone
Big
involved with the
time.
show from the original side, new creatives, people that are probably inspired by it. And will we see a lot of the casts come back? Willow,
Didn't
Xander, I know
did,
he had a
didn't
lot of
Za-
issues.
didn't he lose an eye? I feel like I heard the bet in
Yes,
the
he
show.
lost in the show. He
Okay.
lost an eye. Yep. He's had some troubles in
That
life.
actor.
I mean,
Okay.
Giles is still around. I mean, I'm
He's
trying
got
to
to be
remember.
he's got to be
I'd have
old.
to go back. It's been so long. I mean, he's been
Well,
in roles. He
yeah.
was in Ted Lasso. I mean,
Oh wow, I
he was
didn't
the
even
husband.
realize.
Remember, he was the previous owner of the football club.
Oh, I
Yes,
had no
he
idea
was
that was
great.
him.
He was great in that. Yeah,
Um
just horrible. But
well,
yeah, I mean, they could
yeah,
bring back Giles. I mean, they
yeah.
could do other things with the Slayer Council. So there's things that they could do, and then those characters that are no longer with us, or people that are no longer with us. I mean,
Yeah.
bringing new people, new threats. Big bad. There's always big bad, Charlie.
Yeah. Well, this definitely gives us fuel to go back and continue discussing the series. I think we're in
Yes.
season 3, and there were 7, I think. So
7
yeah, so
seasons,
we're
and
not
then
even
you can read the books. There were some other
yeah.
things too they could touch on, but yeah,
Not
7
quite halfway
seasons,
through. So that'll be
all
great.
available
So
on Hulu.
so this is all on Hulu, exactly. So this is in production. So I would assume this would be some, or
Well, not in
it's in
production
talks.
yet.
It's in talks, right?
It's in
Um
talks, so
so
yeah, I
my
would say
my
that
guess
I don't see
is
this
2027.
2027 at the
Yep.
earliest. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly correct.
Yep.
Well, good. Well, that takes us out of news, and holy cow, there was a lot. But I have got my Uber out. The car is pulling up. We're hopping in. It smells like cinnamon in here, but he's still playing the AM radio where I hear this familiar advertisement.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover band's playing, drinks are poured, and we are going to get our nerd on. So, show is back that I enjoy, and that is Mythic Quest Season 4. The first 2 issues are out.
Episodes.
I watched them. Yes, the first 2 episodes of the 4th season are
Can't
out.
keep him straight.
Yes, so this show is... there's no real the new news is that basically last season everybody had kind of broken apart doing their own thing. Then this season brought everybody back to the original company. We've got Rob McElhenney and Ian, that's the character he plays, with Poppy, his co-creator, are there. They're doing their own thing within the company, but now she's got a boyfriend, which is making Ian a little jealous. And so there's been some funny things about using AI as coworkers, which has been a fun part of the conversation. We've got another subgroup with Dana, who's a creator within the game that has created this social media game within it, kind of like Roblox or something
no.
stupid and fun. That's now making all the money. So it's kind of like you've got a power dynamic shifting where Ian and Poppy were the hot kids who were doing all the cool stuff. Well, now she's raising up. And so basically you've got all these different power dynamics, and there's also Danny Putty is playing basically her evil business manager. And yeah, it's just crazy. And then you've got the old school part of the team, which is keeping David he played cricket on It's Always Sunny. So he's kind of like the head of the company now, but he's kind of Weasley, kind of weird, kind of a loser, but he tries to act tough and things like that. So he's trying to keep everything afloat and manage all the personalities. So this is definitely your work comedy, goofy, that type of thing. So the dynamic season is, I don't know where it's necessarily going, but I know it's going to come to head where you're going to get just things are going to blow up, but there will always be one episode of every season. I've talked about this before, where you get a standalone episode that is completely tied to the show, but it's just standalone. It's like the last season episode was all about Ian growing up and Poppy growing up as kids and seeing what they were like to become the creators they were and the way they grew up in their childhood. Another season, there was a standalone with F. Murray Abraham about he was this it was a struggling science fiction writer. He wanted to be taken seriously. So he ended up struggling, and he ended up stealing someone else's idea to become famous.
Not
so
cool.
That part, and then the first episode or the first season had a standalone episode, which was really cool, about basically the company office where the current staff works at was formed by this couple who created a game. It was all about that couple and then how they broke apart and all these different things. So it's all they always do, these weird little standalones that are so good, that are always happy, that make me happy that there's something else with the show has heart. So this one's cool. I like the show. Watch it. It has nothing to do. I mean, it has video games in it, just in title. You don't have to like video games to like the show. If you like comedies, it's a workplace comedy. Check out Mythic Quest.
Like what was that? The League. I watched the League, that sports one with Nick Kroll, and so it's a fantasy football, which I couldn't care any less about, but it's a sitcom and it's fun. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're watching The Office. It's like I don't like paper products.
Right.
Well, no.
You know what? And it's a metaphor that extends it. When I was telling people we were going out to see A Complete Unknown, which was the Bob Dylan movie, I got a lot of people telling me, well, I don't like Bob Dylan. I'm like, I don't really like Bob Dylan either, but it was a great story about this dude's life. It was not a musical. So yeah, same kind of thing.
It's like seeing Talladega Nights. I don't like NASCAR. It's a Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah, and it's the same story beats as Anchorman. Even if you don't watch the news, it's just a dumb comedy. Yeah, exactly.
A lot of great quotes. Dumb. Yeah. And then next we watched Despicable Me 4. This was on PeaCock, as I'm calling it now. Puckork. Puckork.
PeaCock.
Puckork. Yeah, Despicable Me 4. This is a series where it is out of steam. I mean, I like the
I
characters.
just couldn't even bring myself. You must have just been playing roulette and said, "Why the hell not?" I mean, did anybody want to watch it? Was your wife or your son like, "Yeah, let's give it a shot"?
Well, we like the series of movies. We've always enjoyed them. And Will Ferrell played a French guy in this as like the villain, kind of funny.
Yeah.
They brought in a sub text was now they got a baby in it. So once there's a
Oh
baby in
God.
the mix, yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Gru is trying to become a good guy, but he's kind of brought in. There's a subplot about a next door neighbor girl who will Gru is put into federal protection, so he's trying to be somebody else.
Oh
and
my
then this
God.
little girl across the
He's
street wants
Homer
to become
Thompson.
a supervillain. So
Homer Thompson of Murder Lake, is that his?
exactly, yeah. And then he's brought in. Basically, his identity is going to be revealed. So he ends up helping a little girl who wants to be a supervillain. Like he does a deal. There's a plot with the minions are experimenting on become superheroes. They're just it's for kids. They like this series. I think the first couple were fun,
and it did well. I remember in our bracket it was top 5. Yeah. So I mean they've got it figured out, as opposed to like the Jurassic World where you don't know if it's going to be a winner or a stinker as far as box office. They're going to deliver.
I know we're getting another Minions movie, and I did not like the Minions. I have not seen any of the Minions movies. I have no interest.
April,
they're a good side plot.
Yeah, April absolutely refuses to see this movie. And when the Minions one came out, she was like, "Nothing with Minions. Can't take it. It's too much for me." And we'll go see absolutely anything because we enjoy seeing bad movies. We do a podcast about it, but there's some things that are a bridge too far. And for April, it's the Minions. What can I say?
Banana.
Oh my God!
So that's what I was up to. Yeah, I mean, I need to catch up on a few things. There's some new shows coming out especially after the Super Bowl. We're going to get a lot of new content, especially on shows you like Ghost is coming back. Which is
there's been 2 episodes back. That I know that was.
It has. I thought it was waiting until after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no. It's on now.
We go.
We're wrapping up shows. The Dexter prequel, which has been not bad, is coming to a head. We're on the second to last episode, and there was a big reveal in the last one about who the serial killer is. You didn't see it coming, so that was cool. But I have been, as I've alluded to several times in the first segment, back into the comics. I'm kind of in a bit of a phase, but with the FF coming up, I've dipped back into John Byrne, who I begrudgingly love his work because of his personal life. That's a begrudging part, but. No, I have the first volume of the trade paperback, and it's so weird with Comixology because in the past you bought stuff and then it also ended up on your Marvel Unlimited. So I bought this years ago what was Comixology before? Comixology was its own app before. So I must have purchased it before it was Amazon. And then it ended, and then Marvel used to have their own buying service, but then everything just matriculated back to MU. So anyway, my point is the trade paperback is in my Marvel Unlimited. So I'm starting to read it now. The first arc or the first couple of stories was the FF flying into space to prevent a cataclysm on Earth. And fighting Ego, the Living Planet, which I thought for a little while was his first appearance, but it wasn't. He's from the Thor comics from going back previously, according to this. But they execute the same storyline that you saw in the MCU with having to go to his brain, but the Thing is carrying this big rocket thing to try to get to his brain. Rocket, it's fun to overload his guidance system so that he flies into the sun, which of course they made, and escape, which they managed to pull off. So now the next issue I'm going into is the 20th anniversary issue. So it's from 1981, which I'm really looking for. I think it was 236. I actually have a framed copy on my wall because the side of it was printed sideways. Or unless I'm thinking of issue 250, but one of those two. And you don't often get that. So I thought it was so cool. That's why I framed it and added to my menagerie in my den. But enjoying that. And then we went to the movies. We've been trying to do either a Thursday or Friday. We go to Hopcat, which is a restaurant that's next to the movie theater that we love, and we go see a movie, even if it's maybe not the greatest. But this one ended up being fun, definitely weird. It's the star of it's our buddy Short Round, whose name I always get wrong. Todd, help me out.
Yeha Kwan.
Thank you very much. Star of this film, he is actually reunited with Sean Astin in this film, who has a pretty small role. And then Ariana Dubois, who we saw in Craven, unfortunately. And, a villainous cast, including a guy who I then found out was an NFL guy, Beast Mode. Deshaun Dewan. What's his name? He was.
Oh,
Yeah.
Beast Mode Deshaun. No. Oh crap! Now
Help
I'm
me out.
blanking on his name. Yes,
But
Marshawn
anyway,
Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch, he does scream beast mode when he's attacking. But
Sean Dewan.
Marshawn Dewan.
That's
Don't call up the name of the episode. But essentially, we meet Kiwan, and he is a very amiable, happy-go-lucky realtor in Milwaukee, and he's working for Sean Astin's character. Sean Astin has really blown up. He looks like he's 300 pounds now, which is unfortunate. I hope that he's not in poor health.
He's a normal guy. Yeah, he's a normal guy.
But anyway, and then he has a very put upon female secretary who ends up being a bigger part of the movie. But one day, early in the day, it's Valentine. We're on the run up to Valentine's Day. Kiwan has been going around getting these weird little love notes, picking them up in strange places, and can't really figure out what's going on. But he walks into his office and closes the door behind him, and an assassin attacks him. Well, it turns out Kiwan gave up his life as the world's deadliest assassin to become a realtor. And now his brother, who runs the syndicate that he worked for, is trying to kill him over some stolen money from this woman who was not his love interest, but she was his mob accountant, played by Ariana Dubois. And so the story goes through him, reconnecting with her, and lots of fights and knives and weird things being used as weapons and whatever it is. Todd, you love this because you love punch 'em ups. That's a big thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very bizarre movie. It doesn't, it's violent, but it's not graphically violent. Yeah, there's some knives being thrown around. Some people get cut, but there's not like a lot of heads exploding and stuff. And even one death that they could have really played for graphic, they didn't, which I appreciated because, you don't really, it didn't need to turn into a horror movie. It didn't need to be John Wick, with
Sure.
But
it's like a romantic action comedy.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. But, again, played, I won't say played for last, but kind of to tug at the heartstrings in its kind of own weird little way. So anyway, I'd recommend it. The theater looked like it had a couple of people in it, but I think this is looking to pull probably less than 10 million. But it's a smaller film. So maybe that's going to be enough for them. But yeah, it was fun. And this was Kiwan's first leading role of his career. So that's
interesting.
That's
I forgot
awesome.
that came out this week because I know that the other movie that came out this week I really wanted to see, which was
Hard Eyes.
I think it was called Hard Eyes.
Hard Eyes. Yeah, horror movie. Yeah.
Which that's by the guy who made that Werewolves Within. It's like kind of a romantic horror film, romantic comedy horror film.
So this was a romantic comedy action film, and the other one that was counter programming was a romantic comedy horror film.
Comedy horror.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, maybe we're seeing Captain America this week, obviously, but it was we to see something else.
Yeah.
We might go see that. So that's it for me. All right. Well, that wraps us up for the Geek Easy. I've got my phone out and my Air Qantas app opened up. We are headed down to the land down under, as we do every week, because Hologram Tina and the mutants await for us to entertain them with 20 questions.
To another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. The mutants been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week, we are doing 20 questions. It's probably our oldest game we've done.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good standby, and it's easy to do, and you can play along at home.
Sure can.
But obviously won't be asking your questions. But or take the movies we are picking this week, which is movies from the year 2000, and you can come up with your own. So basically, very easy. I will be guessing first. Charlie has picked a movie from the year 2000. I get to ask 20 yes/no questions, and on the 20th, after the 20th guess, I actually have to choose a movie. So with that, I will ask my first question, and that is this an action film?
It is not.
Is this an animated film?
It is not.
Is this not animated, not action? Is this a musical movie?
It is not.
Okay. Is this a drama?
No.
Comedy?
Yes. Look at that. Those are the 5 genres, I guess. You landed on it. You got it.
I was gonna get there. I was gonna say documentary, but okay. Comedy. Okay. Is this a parody movie?
Is it a what? Say it again.
Parody movie.
A parody movie. Yes.
Okay. Is the genre it's parroting horror?
Yes.
Would this have any of the Wayans brothers in it?
Correct. You must
Is
have seen it
this
as
movie
on
a
the first
scary
screen.
movie?
That is correct. Yeah, you must have seen it. I shouldn't have picked from the first screen because I'm sure you typed what I
Well,
typed into
the one I picked
Google.
just had
Movies
by
from
the one I
years
had by
2000.
release
Yeah.
date. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So yeah,
Well,
there you go.
okay.
Yes.
That was quick and painless.
It was. So yeah, exactly. Written and produced by Sean and Marlon Wayans and some of their flunkies, directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans, spawning a movie franchise of spoofery that is still with us to today. I think they're still doing, if not these, some other of the same ilk. Like they did what they do, like the what's the, like, oh my god, I'm drawing a
Epic
blank.
movie,
They did
disaster movie.
not another teen movie. No, they did. Oh,
Yeah.
the supernatural one where it's like Black Paranormal Activity or something. Like Black was in the title. It was all black people. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
there's a lot of like don't
Yeah.
what was the Chris Rock music one? Don't
Be a menace to South Central.
society when you're
He
drinking
also
your juice in the hood.
he
or something
no
like
he
that.
did. His was CB4. The
Oh,
one.
God,
Yeah, the
film.
one that you mentioned, I think, was still the Wayans brothers, and those were in the 90s,
Okay.
though. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Let's
there we
do
go.
it.
It was
Let's
an
do it.
interesting time. Scary Movie kind of brought it all back. So
Yeah, sure did. Well,
excuse
good.
Scary Movie. Everyone's
Good
getting new one, I
guessing.
think. So yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, Charlie, go ahead and guess.
Okay, is this movie a comedy?
No.
Oh boy. How about a action film, including science fiction?
No.
Okay. Is it a drama?
No.
Animated film?
No.
Oh my goodness. I've run through all the genres. Is it a documentary?
No.
Oh, documentaries were not really big back then. They're much bigger these days. Oh my god, I can't even get to the genre type. So, holy cow. Not a drama, huh? I was gonna say. Does this movie have a box office draw style star in it?
No.
Okay. 66.
Yes.
I'm up to question 66. Is this movie science fiction?
No.
I guess that would have been covered in the drama. I guess I was trying to lump those together. Okay, not a drama, not a comedy, not animated, not action, not science fiction. My God, what else is there? Does this movie have a contemporary setting to the time it was released?
Yes.
Okay, contemporary setting. Does this movie take place on a boat?
No.
It's not Castaway, but that would have been what the hell is the genre? He really knocked me for a loop here. And no box office draw kind of thing happening. Was this movie a financial success at the box office?
Looking at the numbers, I would say yes, but I would not say, ooh,
Ooh, was this
based on
movie?
numbers, I would say it was not a dog.
It was not a dog. Is this a summertime blockbuster-ish kind of movie? Well, was it like released in the summertime? It's like a summer film.
No.
No. Okay. Well, this is rough. I don't even have the genre for this one. Did this movie include fantastical elements?
Yes.
Fantastical elements, year 2000, genre unknown, not animated, no drama, no science fiction, but fantastical. So is it a fantasy style film?
No.
Oh my gosh. Does the film tie back to is it transition from another medium such as television? Such as?
No.
So it's IP. Is it a sequel?
Yes.
Okay. Shucks. It's Mission Impossible 2 came out in 2000, but that doesn't fit the parameters. I think that movie was successful too. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think you got me on the ropes here. Could it be comic book related?
No.
Not the X-Men 2000. Did DC have a movie coming? Was this a wide release, like in the movie theaters? Was it like a TV?
Yes.
Yeah, it was in the movie theaters. Oh my god, what movies did I see that year? Was this a movie about things related to music?
No.
I was thinking Almost Famous.
Two questions left, Charlie.
Shit. Well, I can't even pin down the genre, so I'm in trouble here. Did the film launch any big stars? Like this was an early project for them?
No.
Okay. I don't even have a guess. I have not. I've gotten one question right out of 19. So I'm gonna say this is Booty Call 3. I don't know. What is it?
You're gonna kick yourself. You're gonna kick yourself.
I've got my
hard,
foot. I've got
Charlie.
my foot ready. I won't kick myself too hard. I have other stuff to do
So
today.
it was not Booty Quest 5 or whatever you said.
Booty Call 3.
8. Yeah. So this comes from the genre of horror. Which
Oh
you did
my
not specify
God.
horror. I'm like, I thought, ooh, that's an early one. That really would have led you, and I think, to be more successful. This was a sequel.
Okay.
Was successful based on the money it made, but not based on its predecessor, which was a huge hit in the year 1999. Created a genre within horror that has been used many times in movies as paranormal. Was it Paranormal Research, Paranormal Watch? What's the name of that movie?
Paranormal Activity.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what would this movie potentially
it's the
be?
Blair Witch Project, isn't it?
Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
It was only filmed for 15 million, made 48 million. So it made 3x its budget. So successful, but definitely not to the level of the first one.
You know who the star of that movie was? It was the dude who starred in Burn Notice. He was the main dude. Yeah, I know, right? Because I've seen it once, but I saw a YouTube video recently about whatever,
Jeffrey
blah blah, and I'm like, oh, there's that dude.
Eric Aleutian, Tristan Schuyler, and Stephen Barker Turner. So, like I said, no major stars at the time, and this is a movie that even the people that were part of the original movie didn't get credit,
right?
And they made like all these other, like, they made video games and all these other things,
right?
But this movie was just,
and they rebooted the franchise recently, and I thought it was pretty disappointing. I don't know. I don't remember if we both watched that movie, but
I did not see it. But I heard it was better than expected, but still, you can't recreate.
You know, Blair Witch to me is a great example of lightning in a bottle, leave it alone, move on, and nobody ever does that. A movie's a hit, they've got to keep it going, and it's just 9.99999% times out of 10, it's going to be a duffer. You know what I mean?
The Human Centipede betrays it every time, because everyone that comes out,
I guess,
that much bigger, because you know what? That centipede can always get longer.
You're adding more people, but yeah, most sequels are not going to be Godfather 2 or The Empire Strikes Back. They're going to be pretty shitty. So good,
especially when the premise is so different.
Yeah.
Very
exactly.
Cool. Okay.
Well, cool.
Well, Charlie,
it's been a while.
You did better. I did better than you did last week, and
you
did worse, or you did as bad as I did the previous week.
The yin has yanged. All right. Well, again, keep it going at home, and we could even play a game of this on the Discord. I think that'd be fun. So if you're listening to the show and you're part of our Discord, which we'll talk about in a second here, jump on, start a match. But Todd, that's the show. Where do people find you out there?
They find me on our Discord, of course. That's a great way to find me, talk about things. We're always chatting about things there. But actually, on the socials, you can find me primarily on Blue Skies at Todd Oxtra.
You keep saying blue skies. It's called blue sky. That's about the fifth time you said it. So I just wanted to make sure
It's
you
the
knew.
blue skies. It's the blue skies. On the blue skies, Charlie. Yes.
There you go.
On the blue skies, find me there. And at Threads and Instagram at TOxtra and at Secret Friends Unite.
Awesome. Very good. Well, I'm also on those places. Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram. I am at the C3, THECEETHREE. And then again, spending my time over at our Discord, where people are having fun and lively fun chats about the genre world. I also run a Discord called the United Trekkers of Michigan. If you're a Trekker, don't care where you live, come talk Star Trek with us. And with that, we are out. Thank you, of course, as always, for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
Are you ready for some football?
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.